Ram Ram Ram. Namaskarams. A warm welcome to everyone to this session of Sri Lalita Sahasranama Stotram chanting session. Let us start with the Guru Vandanam. Let me share the screen. Gurureva gate gurumeva bhaje gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave na gurov paramam shishurasmi guroho matirasti gurau mama pahi guru. Today, a small change in the agenda. So what I will do is the first 10 to 15 minutes, I will try to cover some basic concepts of Dvitvam, and then we will start with the Lalita Sahasranama chanting. So this was something which was pending for some time. I had in the initial pronunciation tips class had touched upon and said there is something called as Varnadvatvam, doubling of consonants, but we had not gone into little more detail. So today we will just look at this in little more detail. We will try to understand some very basic concepts and why we should use and how it is used. So what is Varnadvatvam? Varnadvatvam is nothing but doubling of consonants. So this specifically happens in Samyuktakshara, that is the compound letters. Okay, so let us look at an example before we actually understand the rule or where it comes or how it comes. Kameshwara prema ratna mani pratipanastani. So if you notice carefully here, there are two ways this can be chanted. One is Kameshwara prema ratna mani pratipanastani. So without any dvitvam. The second option is with dvitvam, which is Kameshwara prema ratna mani pratipanastani. So you see there is some doubling happening at specific places. So let us look at what are those places. So for example, if you see Kameshwara, right? Shwara, Kameshwara, Sh and Va. It is a Samyuktakshara, a compound letter. So here we have, before Kameshwara, we have a vowel and then we have this Samyuktakshara, Kameshwara, that is Sh and Va, followed by another vowel, right? So when this kind of a Samyuktakshara, when Samyuk in compound letters, the doubling of consonants will happen. So if you see here, we have Sha getting doubled, Kameshwara. Then in Prema Ratna, Pa is getting doubled, Kameshwara Prema Ratna. In Prema Ratna, Ta is getting doubled, Ratna, Ta is getting doubled. Mani Pratipanastani, Pa is getting doubled in Prati. Then again in Pratipanastani, Ta is getting doubled. So you see there is a doubling happening. That is one more consonant, the half consonant is getting added at each Samyuktakshara. So what we understand by this is the Varnadvatvam specifically happens when there is a compound letter, which is the Samyuktakshara. So now let us look at how, or what is the general rule which can be applied to this. So one of the general rules is that, any consonant other than Ra and Ha gets doubled. Okay, Ra and Ha never gets doubled. So when does this happen? When there is a vowel and there is a consonant which is not Ra and Ha, other than Ra and Ha, and then there is no vowel or there can be any other consonant. No vowel means there is no swara, or there can be any other consonant in both the cases. Okay, so there is a swara plus there is a consonant which is a vyanjana, which is not Ra or Ha, and then we have either no swara or there can be any consonant, any other vyanjana akshara can be there. So in this kind of a scenario where there is a compound letter of this combination, then the consonant other than Ra and Ha, which comes the first consonant, will get doubled. So this is the general rule of a Varna Dvitva. So if you look at then a specific example here, Kami, which we saw in the previous slide also, Kameshwara Prema Ratna Mani Pratipanastani. So let's try to do a Varna Cheda here. Kameshwara is there. So we will take, we know where is the Samyuktakshara. Shwa is the Samyuktakshara here. So before that we have Ye, that is the Ye Swara, Ye plus Sh plus V, right? So we have a Swara, we have a consonant, and then we have another consonant. So the first consonant which comes after the Swara is Sh, which is getting doubled in this case. Okay, let us look at the next Samyuktakshara in the same example. Kameshwara Prema Ratna Prema. So here we have before Pa, if you look at this where I'm pointing, before Pa there is Ra, and in Ra plus A. So if we do a Varna Cheda here, there is a Swara, and then we have Pa, and then we have Ra. So A plus Pa plus Ra. So we have Pa getting doubled in this case. Let us look at the next one, Ratna. So we have A Swara in Ra plus Ta plus Na. Okay. So Swara, consonant, and another consonant. So the first consonant in this case is Ta, which is the Vyanjana. So Ta is getting doubled. So if you see here, Kameshwara Prema Ratna Mani Pratipanastani. So when in the normal Devanagari script, we do not show this doubling of the letters. But when we chant, we do it. So just for the understanding sake, I have indicated the doubled letter also here. But in real practice in the script, it is not indicated like this. It will always be what you see is this one. But how we chant is like this. Okay. So let us look at some more examples, then it will be more clear. So let us look at another example with a small change in the way the doubling happens. Now, in the previous slide, I told you that, there can be a vowel plus a consonant, a Vyanjana, which is not Ra and Ha, which is followed by another consonant or a vowel, which is a Swara, right? So we saw the example of Kameshwara Premaratna Mani Pratipanastani, vowel plus any consonant other than Ra and Ha, and then no vowel, or there can be any Vyanjanakshara. In that case, the first Vyanjanakshara gets doubled. Now, in this case, if you see Swara as usual, then we have R or Ha, then we have any other consonant, that is the Vyanjanam. Apart from, again, Ra and Ha cannot be there. So, in this scenario, the consonant which comes after R or Ha gets doubled. So in the first scenario, what I explained to you, the first, whatever the consonant which came first got doubled, and which was followed by another consonant. But in this case, we have R or Ha first, and then the consonant is there. Even in this case, R or Ha will not get doubled. The consonant, the Vyanjanam is what will get doubled. Okay. So let us look at this example. Sharbani, Sharmadayini. So if you see here, Sharbani, there is A, then we have R, Shar, R, Repha, then we have V. So there is A, so vowel, Aswara is there, then we have R, and then we have a consonant, Vyanjanam. So what gets doubled here as per this diagram or the rule you are seeing, the Vyanjanam, that is which comes after this R or Ha, that is what is getting doubled. So we have V getting doubled here. So it will become Sharbani. So Va is getting doubled. If you look at the same line of the same verse actually, Sharbani, Sharmadayini. So we have A, then we have Ra, and we have Ma. So we have Swara, we have Ra, Vyanjanakshara, and then we have another Vyanjanakshara. And in this case also, the second Vyanjanakshara, which is Ma, is what is getting doubled. Okay. Now let us look at the next example. Tapatrayagni santapta samahladana chandrika. So here if you see, Ha is come. Okay. So let us look at this example with the perspective of Ha. So we have a vowel Swara. Where is it? It is after Ma, A, Didha. Swara is there. a, then we have ha, and then we have la. If you look at this first part of the script where I'm pointing, so you have a plus ha plus la. So in this case also, her doesn't get doubled. The consonant which comes after her, that is la, is getting doubled. So this will become samahladana chandrika. So this is how the varnadvitvam is applied. Now, if you look at wherever the samyuktakshara comes, the consonant comes, the compound letters comes. So this dvitvam will happen. But in terms of the rule, it gets changed slightly, which letter gets the dvitvam applied to. Now, what we saw here is some of the basic rule of varnadvitvam, where we apply the doubling. So we will just spend little more time on some of the other examples, so that we have little more clarity. So let us look at this. All these examples are from Lalita Sahasranama only. Unmesha nimishotpanna vipanna bhuvanavali. So here, let us take the example of the first samyuktakshara. Unmesha. Na is there, ma is there, and there is a swara before that u. So there is a samyuktakshara. Dvitvam can be applied here. So na is getting doubled in this case. Unmesha. Then let us look at the next samyuktakshara. Nimishotpanna, ta and pa. This is a samyuktakshara. Ta is followed by pa, and before that we have the o swara. So again here, swara plus consonant plus consonant. So ta is getting the first consonant. Ta is getting doubled. So if you see, unmesha nimishotpanna, ta is getting doubled. Now, next samyuktakshara is panna. We have na and na. So here we have again pa plus a swara, is there. Then we have a consonant and followed by another consonant. The first consonant is obviously na. Again, it is also the second consonant. But however, it gets doubled. Unmesha nimishotpanna. So na gets doubled in this case. Same concept again, vipanna. Same thing, na gets doubled. Bhuvanavali, vipanna bhuvanavali. So these are all plain. There is no samyuktaksharas. These are gunitakshara and the aksharas. So here gunitaksharas. So there is no doubling happening in these from bhuvanavali. But wherever you see a compound letter, then there is a doubling happening. Let us take a look at another example. Tarakanti tiraskari. Tarakanti tiraskari nasabharana bhasura. So here, kanti. So we have na and ta. So na is getting doubled in this case. Tara kanti. So I've just highlighted it in green. I'm not indicated the doubled na here. Then we have tiraskari. So tiraskari ska is also a samyuktakshara. So followed by ka. So there is a slight variation here. So in this case, instead of sa, ka gets doubled. So, there are sutras associated with this, and which is little more advanced. So, so wherever there is, depending on where the position of the consonant and which letter is preceding or succeeding, the doubling is applied. So, in this case, we have ka getting doubled. Tiraskari nasabharana bhasura. So, this is second example. Let us look at third example. Nakhadidhiti sanchanna namajjanatamo guna. So here, which is the first samyuktakshara, sanchanna, sanya and cha is there. So in this case, the first samyuktakshara, that is the fifth letter of chavarga, this is getting doubled. Then we have sanchanna, again na is getting doubled. Namajjana. So if you see here, namajjana, ja and ja is a samyuktakshara. So ja itself is getting namajjana tamo guna. So wherever we see a samyuktakshara, it is getting doubled. The first consonant in general, if it is not ra and ha, and if a consonant is following ra and ha, that is, if a consonant is after ra and ha, then the consonant gets doubled and not ra and ha. Some of the other examples, Chaturbahu Samandita. So here, if you see, U swara plus B is a Kshamyatam, chatur u plus chatur r repha and then ba. So we have vowel plus r plus ba. So r will not get doubled. So ba is getting doubled in this case. Chatur bahu samanvita. So ba is getting doubled. In this case, samanvita. Again, there is a doubling happening. Chandra vidya. So we have n and the. Chandra vidya. So we have here the getting doubled. Deva karya samudyata. Karya, again a plus r plus ya is getting doubled. Deva karya samudyata. The is getting doubled. Sarvarunana vadyangi. Again, va is getting doubled. And I have not highlighted this in green. I missed it. But here again, the is getting doubled. And here, ya is getting doubled. Sarvarunana vadyangi. Next one, dharma vivarjita. So same case. So we have a samyuktaksharas. Dharma and vivarjita ja, ra, repha and ja. So in all these cases, ma is getting doubled, and then we have ja being doubled. Similarly, we have tapatrayagni santapta samahladana chandrika. So wherever you are seeing a samyuktakshara, so there is a doubling being applied over there. So the general rule is the varnadvitvam happens on the compound letters, that is the samyuktakshara. And whenever there is a vowel or a swaraha followed by another any consonant apart from r and h and followed by either no swara or there can be any other vyanjanakshara consonant, then the consonant which comes first will get doubled up. So in the other case, what we saw, if there is a swara and then r or h and then any other consonant, a vyanjanam, which is not r and h, then this consonant gets doubled, which comes after ra and ha, this vyanjanakshara gets doubled. So these are some of the examples. Now, so whether varnadvitvam is mandatory. Theoretically, varnadvitvam is not mandatory. It is considered optional. However, it is a best practice to follow as it facilitates the chandas, the meter of the meter followed in the shloka. Specifically, when the preceding swara is a hrasva, like a, e, then it is more evident. So you may ask me a question that, are these the only places where Vitvam is applied? Are there any other rules? Yes, definitely there are other rules. There are sutras associated with it. And for a chanting course of this kind, it will be too advanced if I get into the complete sutra and other rules applied with Varnadvitvam. So what I have tried to do is cover the basics of a very basic level of Varnadvitvam. So you understand that there is something like this and this is where it gets applied. So how do we learn this? How do we understand this? It is Shruti Parampara. The way we have all learned, the way our gurus have all learned, it is all through Shruti. Shravanena. So listening is the key. Because the moment you start looking it on, okay, there is Varnadvitvam, so there is a, then there is ra and then na, so I need to apply for Dvitvam for na, then that madhurya or the bhakti of chanting, the flow of chanting will get impacted. It is important, I'm not saying it is not important to know the grammatical aspects of Varnadvitvam, but at this level, the chanting stage, what we will focus on is the Shravanam part. So listening is the key. That is how we will first learn. So let us observe, listen carefully when something is chanted, not just in this course, in any other course or anywhere else. So you will be able to pick up that nuances of pronunciation. So having said that, let me go to the Sahasranama chanting part. I'll just share my screen. There was a request in the previous class that many of you wanted to learn the Mangala Shloka, that is the Guru Reva Gatihi. So I will teach it once again today. Sai Shruti, Sunita. Can switch on your camera. Yeah. Guru Reva Gatihi.
Guru Reva Gatihi. Guru Reva Gatihi.
Guru Meva Bhaje.
Guru Meva Bhaje. Guru Meva Bhaje.
Guru Naiva.
Guru Naiva. Guru Naiva.
Sahasmi.
Sahasmi. Sahasmi.
Namo Gurave.
Namo Gurave. Namo Gurave.
Na Guru Paramam.
Na Guru Paramam. Na Guru Paramam.
Shishurasmi Guroho.
Shishurasmi Guroho. Shishurasmi Guroho.
Matirasti Gurau.
Matirasti Gurau. Matirasti Gurau.
Mama Pahi Guru.
Mama Pahi Guru. Mama Pahi Guru.
So I have actually split and I have taught, I chanted this now. So let me just chant it with the combining the sandhis. So here the first line, Gatihi, I split this into Visarga and Guru Meva. So when it joins, it becomes Guru, Gatir Guru Meva. Guru Reva Gatir Guru Meva Bhaje.
Guru Reva Gatir Guru Meva Bhaje. Guru Reva Gatir Guru Meva Bhaje.
Guru Naiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave.
Guru Naiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave. Guru Naiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave.
Na Guru Paramam Shishurasmi Guroho.
Na Guru Paramam Shishurasmi Guroho. Na Guru Paramam Shishurasmi Guroho.
Matirasti Gurau Mama Pahi Guru.
Matirasti Gurau Mama Pahi Guru. Matirasti Gurau Mama Pahi Guru.
I'll chant the full shloka once. Guru Reva Gatir Guru Meva Bhaje. Guru Naiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave. Na Guru Paramam Shishurasmi Guroho. Matirasti Gurau Mama Pahi Guru.
Guru Deva Gatir Guru Meva Bhaje. Guru Naiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave. Na Guru Paramam Shishurasmi Guroho. Matirasti Gurau Mama Pahi Guru. Guru Reva Gatir Guru Meva Bhaje. Guru Naiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave. Na Guru Paramam Shishurasmi Guroho. Matirasti Gurau Mama Pahi Guru.
So let us start with the dhyanam. Let us visualize Sri Lalita Parameshwari. Let us meditate. सिन्दूरारुण विग्रहान् त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यामलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् अरुणाङ्करुणातरङ्गिताक्षीं धृतपाशाङ्कुशपुष्पबाणचापाम् अणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैरहमित्येव विभावये भवानी. So let us chant the first 38 verses quickly. Om Shri Mata Shri Maharagni Smt.Sandhya Chidagni Kunda Sambhuta Devakarya Samudyata Budyat Bhanu Sahasrabha Chaturbahu Samanvita Ragaswarupa Pashadhya Krodhakarankushojjvala Manorupe Shukodanda Panchatanmatra Nijaruna Prabhapura Majjat Brahmanda Mandala Champaka Shoka Punnaga Saugandhikala Satkacha Kuruvindamani Kanat Kotira Mandita Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja Dalikasthala Shobhita Mukha Chandra Kalankabha Mruganabhivisheshaka Vadanasmara Mangalya Gruhatorana Chillika Vaktra Lakshmi Parivaha Chalanmeena Bhalochana Navachampaka Pushpabhanasa Danda Virajita Tarakanti Tiraskarina Bharana Bhasura Kadamba Manjari Klupta Karnapura Manohara Tatanka Yugali Bhuta Tapanodhupa Mandala Padmaraga Shiladasha Paribhavika Pola Bhuhu Nava Vidruma Bimbashri Nyakari Radanachada Shuddha Vidyankurakara Dvija Pankti Dvayojjvala Karpura Vitika Moda Samakarshi Digantara Nija Sallapa Madhurya Vinirbhatsita Kachapi Mandasmita Prabhapura Majjat Kamesha Manasa Anakalita Sadrishya Chibuka Shri Virajita Kamesha Baddha Mangalya Sutra Shobhita Kandhara Kanakangada Keyura Kamaniya Bhujanvita Ratnagraiveya Chinta Kalola Mukta Phalanvita Kameshwara Prema Ratna Mani Kameshwara Prema Ratna Mani Pratipanastani Nabhyalavala Romali Lata Phalakuchadvayi Lakshya Romalata Dharata Samunneya Madhyama Stana Bharadalan Madhya Patta Bandhavalitraya अरुणारुण कौसुम्भवस्त्रभास्वत्कटीतटी रत्नकिङ्किणिकारम्य रशनादामभूषिता कामेशज्ञातसौभाग्यमार्दवोरुद्वयान्विता माणिक्यमुकुटाकारजानुद्वयविराजिता इन्द्रगोपपरिक्षिप्तस्मरतूनाभजङ्घिका गूढगुल्फा कूर्मपृष्ठजयिष्णुप्रपदान्विता नखदीधिति सञ्छन्ननमज्जनतमो गुणा पदद्वयप्रभाजालपराकृतसरोरुहा सिञ्जानमणिमञ्जीरमण्डितश्रीपदाम्बुजा मराली मन्दगमना महालावण्यशेवधिः सर्वारुणानवद्याङ्गी सर्वाभरणभूषिता शिवकामेश्वराङ्कस्था शिवा स्वाधीनवल्लभा सुमेरुमध्यशृङ्गस्था श्रीमन्नगरनायिका चिन्तामणिगृहान्तस्था पञ्चब्रह्मासनस्थिता महापद्माटवी संस्था कदम्बवनवासिनी सुधासागरमध्यस्था कामाक्षी कामदायिनी देवर्षिगणसङ्घातस्तूयमानात्मवैभवा भण्डासुरवधोद्युक्तशक्तिसेना समन्विता सम्पत्करी समारूढ सिन्धुरव्रजसेविता अश्वारूढाधिष्ठिताश्वकोटिकोटिभिरावृता चक्रराजरथारूढ सर्वायुध परिष्कृता गेयचक्ररथारूढ मन्त्रिणी परिसेविता किरिचक्ररथारूढ दण्डनाथा पुरस्कृता ज्वालामालिनिका क्षिप्तवह्निः प्राकारमध्यगा भण्डसैन्यवधोद्युक्तशक्तिविक्रमहर्षिता नित्या पराक्रमाटोपनिरीक्षणसमुत्सुका भण्डपुत्रवधोद्युक्तबाला विक्रमनन्दिता मन्त्रिण्यम्बा विरचितविषङ्गवधतोषिता विशुक्रप्राणहरणवाराही वीर्यनन्दिता कामेश्वरमुखालोककल्पितश्रीगणेश्वरा महागणेश निर्भिन्न विघ्नयन्त्रप्रहर्षिता भण्डासुरेन्द्र निर्मुक्त शस्त्र प्रत्यस्त्रवर्षिणी कराङ्गुलिनखोत्पन्न नारायण दशाकृतिः महापाशुपतास्त्राग्निर्दग्धासुरसैनिका कामेश्वरास्त्र निर्दग्ध सभण्डासुरशून्यका ब्रह्मोपेन्द्र महेन्द्रादिदेव संस्तुत वैभवा हरनेत्राग्निसन्दग्ध काम सञ्जीवनौषधिः श्रीमद्वाग्भवकूटैकस्वरूप मुखपङ्कजा कण्ठादः कटिपर्यन्त मध्यकूटस्वरूपिणी शक्तिकूटैकतापन्न कट्यधो भागधारिणी मूलमन्त्रात्मिका मूलकूटत्रयकलेबरा कुलामृतैकरसिका कुलसङ्केतपालिनी कुलाङ्गना कुलान्तस्था कौलिनी कुलयोगिनी akula samayantastha samayachara tatpara मूलाधारैकनिलया ब्रह्मग्रन्थि विभेदिनी मणिपूरान्तरुदिता विष्णुग्रन्थि विभेदिनी. I think we had stopped at 38th verse. So we'll start from 39th. I know there are some questions. I will answer it later. Agnya chakrantaralastha Rudragranthi Vibhedini Sahasrarambujarudha Sudha Sarabhi Varshini. So here Agnya Chakrantaralastha. So listen carefully. Agnya Chakrantaralastha Rudragranthi Vibhedini Sahasrarambujarudha. Ja is a dirgha. Sudha Sarabhivarshini. So in the first padam, we have Tha as the Mahaprana. Second padam, we have again Tha in Granthi. And then Vibhedini, Bha is a Mahaprana. Sahasra, for Sa we have a Ra, Repha. Sa plus Ra. Sahasra Rambujarudha. Dha is a Mahaprana. Sudha Sarabhi. Sudha Dha is a Mahaprana. Sarabhi Bha is a Mahaprana. Varshini Sha. Shanmukha Sha. Agna.
Agnya. Agnya.
Saishruti, can you increase the volume? It's very feeble actually. Agnya Chakrantaralastha.
Agnya Chakrantaralastha. Agnya Chakrantaralastha.
Rudragranthi Vibhedini.
Rudragranthi Vibhedini. Rudragranthi Vibhedini.
So in this, if you just carefully notice, see if let's say I don't apply the Dvitvam here. Rudragranthi Vibhedini, Rudragranthi Vibhedini. If I apply the Dvitvam, Rudragranthi Vibhedini. Otherwise, Rudragranthi Vibhedini. So it will be without the Dvitvam. So if you apply the Dvitvam, you can make out a difference. Rudragranthi Vibhedini. So that's how we make out the difference. But my sincere suggestion to all of you is don't worry too much about is it coming here, is it not coming here, is it after, is the rule applicable here at the moment. Please listen and repeat. That is how we all have learned. That is how the listening is the key for any shloka or stotram, mantram, etc. So please listen. That is how I learned. When I learned first time also, I never knew that there is something called as Dvitvam at all. So please pay attention to the way it is pronounced and pronounced in the same way. So generally, if you see, even in, when you go to any music class also, the teachers would say that, don't see the script. You listen and sing. The reason is that is how we catch the actual pronunciation and we chant it correctly. So if we keep referring back to the script and seeing whether there is a Dvitvam, is it or there is something Mahaprana, etc., then that flow of the Madhurya, Bhakti will not be there. But at the same time, I'm not underestimating those aspects of pronunciation. All that I'm saying is that the script or these kind of things is only for reference, and the most of it we learn through the listening part of it. So listening is the key. Agnya Chakrantaralastha.
Agnya Agnya-chakrantaralastha Agnya-chakrantaralastha
Rudra-granthi-vibhedini
Rudra-granthi-vibhedini Rudra-granthi-vibhedini
Sahasrarambujarudha
Sahasrarambujarudha Sahasrarambujarudha
Sudhasarabhivarshini
Sudhasarabhivarshini Sudhasarabhivarshini
Agnya-chakrantaralastha Rudra-granthi-vibhedini
Agnya-chakrantaralastha Rudra-granthi-vibhedini Agnya-chakrantaralastha Rudra-granthi-vibhedini
Sahasrarambujarudha Sudhasarabhivarshini
Sahasrarambujarudha Sudhasarabhivarshini Sahasrarambujarudha Sudhasarabhivarshini
Agnya-chakrantaralastha Rudra-granthi-vibhedini Sahasrarambujarudha Sudhasarabhivarshini
Agnya-chakrantaralastha Rudra-granthi-vibhedini Sahasrarambujarudha Sudhasarabhivarshini Agnya-chakrantaralastha Rudra-granthi-vibhedini Sahasrarambujarudha Sudhasarabhivarshini
Let me just. So Agnya Chakrantaralastha is one name. Rudra-granthi Vibhedini is another name. Sahasrarambujarudha and Sudhasarabhivarshini. So there are 4 names totally in this verse. Next one. Tadillata Samaruchihi. Tadillata Samaruchihi. Visarga, and then we have Sha. Tadillata Samaruchihi Sha. So when Visarga is followed by Sha or Sha. Tadillata Samaruchi Shat-chakropari. So it's continuous. If we take a pause, we can chant the complete Visarga. Shat-chakropari. So we have T and Cha. Shat-chakropari. Samsthita. So we have Tha here. Samsthita. Samsthita. Mahasaktihi Kundalini. Again Visarga followed by Ka or Kha. So Mahasakti Kundalini is how we pronounce this. Bisatantu Taniyasi. There was a question sometime back from someone. Is it not Mahashaktihi? Is it Mahasaktihi? So both are different. Here Mahasaktihi means with Maha-asakti, interest. Very much interested in the upliftment, in the uddara of the people in this samsara on this earth. So asakti in that Mahasaktihi and Mahashaktihi. Shakti, you all know what it means. Shakti, Devi, the most powerful one. So Mahashaktihi is different from Mahasaktihi. So here it is Mahasaktihi only, not Mahashaktihi. So we have only one Mahaprana in this case, that is Tha, and this is Shanmukha Sha. Tadil, Sai Shruti, you can chant after me. Tadillata.
Tadillata, Tadillata,
Samaruchihi.
Samaruchihi, Samaruchihi,
Shatchakropari.
Shatchakro,
I'm not able to hear you. Shatchakropari.
Chakropari, Shatchakropari,
Samsthita.
Samsthita, Samsthita,
Tadillata samaruchihi. Shatchakropari samsthita.
Tadillata, Samaruchihi, Shatchakropari, Samsthita, Tadillata, Samaruchihi, Shatchakropari, Samsthita,
Mahasaktihi.
Mahasaktihi, Mahasaktihi,
Kundalini.
Kundalini, Kundalini,
Bisatantu. I think you're on mute. Bisatantu. Okay.
Bisatantu,
Taniyasi.
Taniyasi, Taniyasi,
Bisatantu taniyasi.
Bisatantu, Taniyasi, Bisatantu, Taniyasi,
Tadillata samaruchihi. I will take a pause here after the pada and chant so that it is easy. But please remember, whenever if you want to chant without taking a pause after the pada, we have to chant this samaruchi shat chakropari. Tadillata samaruchihi.
Tadillata, Samaruchihi, Tadillata, Samaruchihi,
Shat chakropari samsthita.
Shatchakropari, Samsthita, Shatchakropari, Samsthita,
Mahasakti kundalini.
Mahasaktih Kundalini, Mahasaktih Kundalini,
Bisatantu taniyasi.
Bisatantu Taniyasi, Bisatantu Taniyasi,
Mahasakti kundalini. Bisatantu taniyasi.
Mahasaktih Kundalini, Bisatantu Taniyasi, Mahasaktih Kundalini, Bisatantu Taniyasi,
Tadillata samaruchihi. Shat chakropari samsthita.
Tadillata Samaruchihi, Shatchakropari Samsthita, Tadillata Samaruchihi, Shatchakropari Samsthita,
Mahasakti kundalini. Bisatantu taniyasi.
Mahasaktih kundalini visatantu taniyasi mahasaktih kundalini visatantu taniyasi.
Tadillata samaruchihi षट्चक्रोपरि संस्थिता महाशक्तिः कुण्डलिनी विसतन्तु तनीयसी.
Tadillata samaruchihi षट्चक्रोपरि संस्थिता महाशक्तिः कुण्डलिनी visatantu taniyasi. Tadillata samaruchihi षट्चक्रोपरि संस्थिता महाशक्तिः कुण्डलिनी visatantu taniyasi.
So let us Tadillata Samaruchihi. Tadillata Samaruchihi is one name here. Shatchakropari Samsthita. Just give me 1 minute. Shamyata. Tadillata Samaruchihi is one name. Shatchakropari Samsthita is another name. So ideally, this line, it should be combined. Shatchakropari Samsthita. Then we have Mahasaktihi, this is one name. And then Kundalini is the another name. Bisatantu Taniyasi is one more name. So in the first line, we have 2 names, and second line we have 3 names. So there is a question like whether, we can chant without taking a pause, with taking a pause, etc. So I'm just reiterating. So generally, there are two ways we chant. One is after every pada, we take a pause and chant. So that, it is easy for us. The other option is we don't take a pause, we chant continuously. Now, in this case, I took a pause after Samaruchihi because it's an ideal place to take a pause. And this is one name, Tadillata Samaruchihi. And Shatchakropari Samsthita is another name. But when it comes to second line, even here, these are 2 different names. However, this is not a pada break. If you see, Mahasaktihi 4 letters, Kundalini 4 letters. Generally after, because it is in Anushtup, after 8 letters, we take a pause. That is 8 letters makes 1 pada. So we can take a pause after Kundalini. So that is why I'm not chanting the complete Visarga here. And I'm chanting like Mahasakti Kundalini because I'm chanting this together, though these are 2 different names. Okay. Now, when we looked at some of the other names, in the other classes where the first line completely was one name. So there, intentionally, we are not taking a pause because we know that, it is one name, and, if we break a name, then the meaning itself will get altered. For that reason, we are not taking a pause in those cases. Hope it is clarified. There was a question regarding this. Let us go to, what is the time? Let me have a quick time check. I think it's 7. So we can stop here today. So we'll try to cover more shlokas, more verses tomorrow. Let me just... I'm just seeing if there are any questions which I have not answered. Okay. In Shatchakropari, we have a doubling. See, we have Shatchakropari. We have after ta, we have ka, chakra. So ka is getting doubled, ra is not doubled. Samsthita, so tha gets doubled in this case as a exception rule. Samsthita. Okay, then we have in Kundalini, n gets doubled. Bisatantu, n gets doubled. So wherever there is a samyuktakshara, it is getting doubled. So but again, I'm reiterating, don't be very conscious, otherwise that flow will go. So whatever you hear, please repeat it. So automatically you will be able to catch it. The moment you start observing those, you will be thinking whether I should apply a Dvitvam here or not. So for time being, at this level of chanting, please listen carefully and repeat. So for example, in Tadillata, there is la getting doubled in this case. Tadillata, there is another la coming before this. So there is Tadillata samaruchihi shat chakropari. In this case also, shat, ta and cha is coming. Before sha, there is a plus ta plus cha. So ta is getting doubled. Shat chakropari, ka is getting doubled. Tha is getting doubled. K is getting doubled. Na is getting doubled. In Tantu, na is getting doubled. So there are multiple places. Almost in all the Samyuktaksharas, if you see, the doubling is happening. So if I try highlighting, or if I try putting a color to this, it's like entire thing will be very colorful. So Shruti Parampara. So listening is the key in this case. I request. So there's another question which is asked here. Okay, let me go back to that. Why there is no Upadmaniya here? So like I said here, let's say I don't take a pause here. Okay, I'm going to chant Tadillata Samarucha Chakro Pari. I can chant like this. But I'm taking a pause. This is a pada break here for me. See, after 8 letters, I'm taking a break here. For that reason, I'm chanting the Visarga fully. But however, Tadillata samarucha chakro samsthita. I can chant like this also. But every shloka, I should chant continuously without taking a pada break in that case. So there was a question regarding this. Okay, so let me just see if I've left anything. Okay, I think I've tried answering everything. Somebody has asked me, can you say without doubling so that we can understand? So for example, let me take it. Okay. Agnya chakrantar. So chakranta, you can hear that chakranta. So if I don't use the doubling there, Agnya chakrantaralastha. This is also correct. Agnya chakrantaralastha rudra. I mean, automatically I get Vitvam, so it's little difficult for me. Like I know this is my experience. I was telling this earlier also. When I learned this first time, I didn't learn with the Vitvam. And yes, over a period of time, yes. But when it's only by listening that I learned. So before even I knew that there is something called as Vitvam, I had picked it up to whatever extent was possible for me. So Agnya chakrantaralastha. So it is very plain. So Agnya chakrantaralastha. So this is with Vitvam. So that is the difference. So while it is told that theoretically this is optional, Vitvam is optional, but we suggest that we follow the Vitvam, try to listen and chant the way it is taught and follow this Vitvam. The reason being the verses will be in a specific meter or chandas. So when we don't follow that, that chandas will get impacted, and the best practice for pronunciation is to follow the Vitvam. So there was another question regarding this, so I'm just trying to respond to it. It is samsthita, not sansthita. It is samsthita. So whatever Vitvam rules I told you in this with these examples, it applies to any other shloka or any other stotram that you may be learning. 39th verse, is it? Somebody is asking for 39th verse again. Agnya chakrantaralastha rudra granthi vibhedini sahasraram bujarudha sudha sarabhivarshini. So I'll tell you one more thing in this. Varshini, here Ditvam is not there. Though this is a Samyuktakshara, this is an exception. So in this case, Varshini. So whatever, for example, when I'm telling there is no Ditvam here and there is a Ditvam in this case and there is a Ditvam in Granthi, all this is related to specific sutra in Vyakarana. So, So best way to learn is to learn Sanskrit and learn Vyakaranam. So there are many courses on in the sanskritfromhome.org portal where you can get registered to the Vyakarana courses. So you will have a better understanding of what for everything, whatever, like if I say there is no doubling here, there is a sutra associated. If there is a doubling happening, and if the doubling is not in sand, if it is for tha, then it is with a sutra. If the doubling in this case is for na and for not for tha, then there is a rule, a sutra associated with this. So please learn Sanskritam. Sanskritam gives you more answers to all the questions that you have been asking. Okay. Yeah. So we will close the class today. Let's chant the Mangala Shloka. So tomorrow we will meet again and we will try to address some of the questions if it is not still answered. Sarvamangalamangallye Shive Sarvarthasadhike Sharanye Tyambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Ram Ram Ram. Namaskaram. Pranams to everyone. We will meet tomorrow.